places that I've been, the faces mine are friends, fumbling.
Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're building a cottage in Henford-on-Bagley, but before we begin, hold on, okay? Hold on. So we just hit 2,000 subscribers. I know. Crazy. So yeah, it happened sometime this week and I am absolutely stunned. I don't even know what to say. It's absolutely crazy to me that we're at 2,000 subscribers. And I just want to take a quick moment here to say thank you for everybody, to all of you guys. Welcome to everybody who's new. I appreciate you guys so much, and I don't even know like how to describe how grateful I am for every one of you who's watching my videos. That's absolutely like crazy to me. So yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate your support so much. And 2,000 subscribers, absolutely incredible. So yeah, enough rambling, let's start talking about this video. Okay, so we're building in Henford-on-Bagley. It's I think the 40 by 30 lot. I'm pretty sure there's only one 40 by 30 in Henford-on-Bagley. And this is a big cottage, right? This is a big house. Like, it's for a big family. Although it's like not, I mean, it's technically for 5 Sims. So, I mean, it's not crazy big. But, you know, I have been building a lot of tiny houses lately, so this is pretty big for me, you know? So, yeah, and I'm starting with terrain. And I did have an inspiration picture. I will pop it up on the screen right now. Yeah, so I think this is like a miniature kind of build, and I was absolutely in love with the little pond or the little like pool in the front of the build, and just the shape of the whole you know, the whole lot kind of, you know, with the terrain, and like the house is sitting on top of that hill, and then it looks like there's like 2 paths leading up to the house, and then there's so much landscaping around it, and I absolutely loved it. I was in love with this. I have found it a while ago, and I have been meaning to build this, and I did, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I haven't been building with terrain in quite a while now. It has been a minute, and it is tricky, you know. I definitely understand a lot of people struggle with terrain a lot, and they don't really know how to approach this, and I totally get it. Like, it's really not easy, and it did take me a minute. I mean, you can see me struggling here. It did take me a minute to really like figure out how I can smooth everything out. And yeah, I mean, in this case, I didn't really have to be that like, well, tidy with everything, because I knew I was gonna cover the most of it up with landscaping, with like plants and all that. So yeah, that wasn't like too hard, but it is always tricky, you know, if you build with terrain and you have like the house sitting on top of a hill. You do want to make sure that the Sims can actually walk up to the house, because that can be a bit tricky if you use terrain, because it has to be really smoothed out, and that's not always easy. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm working on the shell now, and the shell really wasn't too hard, to be honest. It's all very square. Typically I would go for, like, if I were to build something just out of my imagination, which rarely happens, but if I would probably make it a little bit more like, I don't know, have some curved, some round shapes in there. So I think this is absolutely gorgeous, this kind of specific build. But it is a bit more easy, I find. It's basically just boxes, you know, you just place boxes in front of each other, and then you kind of create this interesting shape. And I did want to, I talked about this a couple of times now. I always find that if you have different levels in a house, you know, this is a 2-story house. So if you have different levels of roofs, you know, it is just much more interesting. So if the roofs are just gonna be, say, like on the first and on the second level, right? All of the roofs would be on the same height, right? Does that make sense? I think it does. And I think that is a bit like, well, it can be just much more interesting if you add in like a little bit of variation there, you know? So what I try to do sometimes is add in a couple of half walls, you know, like rooms with half walls and attach a roof on top of that. So I did do this here, and I used the roof decor that we got with Cottage Living and just placed it on top of the half walls, so it does actually look like a room, so like a roof. That's what I want to say. Oh, and by the way, this is Cottage Living and base game only. I didn't even say that. I don't know. I keep forgetting to mention like if it's like a base game only build or something like that. I don't know. I've been building so much like restricted pack builds lately that it kind of just feels normal to me by now. I don't know. I've really been enjoying this, to be honest. Like this whole thing is Cottage Living only. So if you have, I mean, the base game is free now, and you would only need Cottage Living. And I find Cottage Living is the most, the pack that is most worth the money, I would say. So, like the expansion pack. So, yeah, I think that you would definitely love Cottage Living if you don't have it. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys do have Cottage Living. I think it's the most popular expansion pack of The Sims 4. So anyway, yeah, this is Cottage Living only, so it is quite easy to build with a restricted pack kind of situation because, I mean, obviously you just don't have as much to choose from. So in the beginning, I always thought like it is a bit frustrating because, you know, there's so many items that I cannot use and I might want to use because they kind of match well in this kind of room or whatever. But if you don't even have the option, you know, it kind of saves you a lot of time and a lot of thinking. At least I kind of felt like that lately. I don't know, it kind of changed for me. I didn't used to think that, but now, yeah, I do. I find it very refreshing to build with restricted packs, and I do think I will continue doing that for a little bit maybe. And let me know if you have like any packs, any expansion packs that you would like to see like restricted pack builds from with. So I would definitely do that. If you have like any suggestions or anything, let me know for sure. So yeah, one thing was this is a Tudor house, right? A Tudor cottage. So we don't have Tudor wallpaper. I think the only Tudor wallpaper that we have in-game came with Get Together, I think. I could be wrong. I think so. Maybe there's another one, but I think that's basically the only one that we have. So we definitely don't have any in base game. We also don't have any in Cottage Living. So I decided to just make my own little Tudor situation. So I just used base game debug kind of wooden, you know, pillars or boards, basically. It's just kind of boards. And just created this little pattern. And I did that all around the build, basically, like all around the exterior. And it is also in the back and on the sides and everything. I don't show you everything because obviously this does take quite a long time. And it is quite repetitive. You know, it's like I will do what I do here. I will do that for the rest of the build. Like everything's going to be a little bit different here and there. But, you know, it's basically the same thing over and over. So I find that a bit repetitive. So I decided to just show you the front of the house. I think that's the only thing I'm going to show you. But yeah, this was actually really fun. Like, I know I am using Tool Mod. And these kinds of things, you couldn't do without Tool Mod. So, I mean, just a huge shout out to Twisted Maxi, who's the maker of the Tool Mod. It's always linked in my description, by the way, if you want to download it yourself. But you don't need, if you want to download my builds, you don't need to have the Tool Mod. So it's, yeah, it's not necessary. You don't have to have it. It will be exactly as you see here in the gallery. And you don't need to have the mod. It's gonna be, everything's gonna be the same anyway. So just a quick disclaimer here. Anyway, so this was really fun to build this, to kind of make this my own little kind of Tudor situation there. And yeah, I really had a lot of fun doing this. Again, I finished up, for this build, I finished up the exterior first, which I think the first time I did that was it was one of my Christmas builds. And it might have been the one from the Family Stone. Because usually, if you're new here, usually what I do is I start with a shell, right? I finish the shell. And then I go into the interior and then I will finish the landscaping later on. That's what I usually do. But for some reason lately, I don't know, I have been kind of enjoying finishing the whole exterior first, because I don't know, like, yeah, I've said that in that video that I was just talking about. The interior is much more difficult for me. I'm just much better at exterior. I don't know what it is. It's just easier to me. It just comes easier to me. So when I finish the interior, especially for a big house, you know, like this one, I'm pretty like done with it, you know. I'm pretty exhausted, and I'm like, oh, I'm done, you know. I just want to finish it up, and then I have to go back to landscaping, which is my favorite part of building, really is landscaping. So I'm absolutely like totally exhausted from doing the interior, and then I have to go back and do landscaping, and I kind of messed that up for myself because I would really not enjoy it as much as I could. So I found that doing the landscaping and everything on the exterior first actually is much more enjoyable for me, because I'm more, I don't know, like I'm still at the beginning of building, kind of, you know, so I'm still a bit more like fresh and excited about the build. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe you don't know what I mean, but I hope you do. So anyway, that's what I did. Yeah, for this build, you could see in the inspiration picture, there's a lot of landscaping. And I mean, that kind of goes for all of my builds, right? I mean, that's kind of the one thing that I love most, is doing landscaping. And for this specific build, like the hills that the house is sitting on top of are all like covered in bushes and flowers and everything. So that was one of the reasons why I did not have to really make the terrain look really like spot on and perfect, you know. So because I knew I was going to cover it up with like plants and everything. You can see that here there's this little like, I don't know, this little area like in the center where there's like a bench, and behind it, it kind of looks like a little bit like a cave or something on the inspiration picture. And it's all like covered in plants, and the terrain in this specific area just looked absolutely terrible. It looked like absolute crap. So, but I didn't really bother too much because I knew I was going to cover it up anyway. And now it looks absolutely fine. Like you can't see any of the bumpy kind of situation there. And yeah, so that's what I kind of did all around the lot to cover up everything where the terrain just looked a little bit off. And I did, that's what I'm doing now. I did also use rocks. I think they're all from Cottage Living. I used all Cottage Living rocks, and just placed them in some places, you know, that I always find, you know, when you have like a big kind of lush landscaping situation like this, putting in a couple of rocks and a little bit of like stone here and there breaks it up a little bit, you know, and makes it look a bit more like, I don't know, brings in a bit more like variation, makes it look more interesting. And also not so, I don't know, not as clean, you know. I wanted this to look like natural, you know, like it's a natural-ish kind of hill, you know, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I do typically to make it look more natural, is add in rocks. And yeah, just bring in this, it's just another element really, you know, bringing in stone and not just like greenery. So yeah, and like I said, I did that all around the build completely. Everything's covered with plants and bushes and rocks, and then I just added in some trees, and that's pretty much it for the landscaping. And I'm actually super happy with how this really like merges into the surroundings, because I mean, it makes sense. I built this in Henford-on-Bagley, and I did only use Cottage Living, right? So everything, the plants, some of it is base game, of course, but like almost everything is Cottage Living, especially the trees and the rocks and everything. And of course, it kind of, yeah, it looks great in this environment because it's actually meant to be there. It's meant to be in this world, if that makes sense. So yeah, so that's what I did. Yeah, I think I'm almost done with the exterior. I just decided to add in some flower boxes, and I will do Some lighting. I will add some exterior lighting, of course. Oh, and also I will do some terrain paint. And yeah, some like ivy, some vines on the exterior walls and all that. And the terrain, I wasn't really sure in the beginning because I wanted there to be like the paths that lead up to the house. I wanted them to be like somewhat noticeable as paths, if that makes sense. So I wanted them to be, to be visible that they are supposed to be paths that you walk on. God, I'm having a hard time talking right now. I think you know what I mean. So I wanted there to be some sort of stonish kind of terrain paint. But I didn't really like I tried to put down some of these actual like stone patterns that we have, but they were just too obvious. I really didn't like it. It just kind of, it broke up too much of the landscaping around it in a way. I don't know. So then I decided to just use this one terrain paint where there's like the stones and they have a lot of space in between them. And I really brought down the opacity of the terrain paint. I think I might have even brought it down like all the way so that it's really kind of subtle. And then I went back on top of that with some, what's that called? The brownish kind of, the soil kind of terrain paint, right? So that it looks even more natural. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And yeah, that's what I did. And I think it actually turned out pretty cute. Like, yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind. I wanted it to look like you can see that there's a path, but it's not too obvious. You know, it looks like people have been walking on that path like for ages. So that's kind of what I was going for. And I think it turned out pretty cute. So yeah, I'm really happy with how the exterior especially turned out. One thing I will say that is a bit unfortunate. We like the Tudor kind of situation that I built myself with the debug boards and wooden things. The thing is, I do use Toolmod to copy paste items and then, you know, kind of make this pattern with Toolmod. But when I do that, it leads to some of the items will be floating in the air. So if you come down to the ground floor, you will still see like the wooden boards like sticking out of the build, if that makes sense, you know, from the walls. And it is a bit annoying, I will say that. Like, if you really want to play with this, if you really want to play in this house, it can be a bit annoying. I mean, I think you can get used to it. It's not like anything that would really bother me. But I do want to mention that because I know it is, yeah, you can see it here. It will just be in the way sometimes, you know. So I could manage to not have it be this way, but it would just take a lot longer, like a lot longer, because I would have to make sure that everything's on the right level. And yeah, it would be a whole thing. So I'm just not gonna. I'm sorry, but yeah, if you want to play with it, you will have to deal with that. I'm sorry. So yeah, anyway, so we're into the interior. And I'm starting with the kitchen. And the kitchen is actually super cute. I'm really happy with how the kitchen turned out. I love the combination of the blue and the red. And I was inspired by the wallpaper, which is a base game wallpaper, I'm pretty sure. And it has red and orange and also blue in it. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I usually use this wallpaper for bathrooms, but for some reason, I don't know, I felt like using it in the kitchen. And I think it's so cute. Like, the combination of blue and red just works so well, especially in this house. And the layout of the kitchen is so cute as well. I do like that the kitchen isn't too big. Like, for the size of the house, the kitchen's actually pretty small. So, but I do like that. I think especially in cottages, it's kind of, well, first off, it kind of makes sense. When it's like if it's supposed to be an old kind of house, it makes sense that the rooms would be a bit smaller, I think. And also it's more charming that way. I think. Like, I think it's a bit more like cozy and yeah, I don't know. I just like it. It's just my kind of vibe. And another thing, I did end up using making the dining room a little bit bigger because well, when I started building this, started like tackling the interior, I wasn't really sure like how many Sims were going to live in here. So I just had a dining room that was really, really small, and there was actually just room for 4 Sims. So yeah, I didn't really think of that at first. So I just kept it that way. But then when I tried to film like the cinematic shots for the end of the video, I kind of realized, because I had 5 Sims, right? I had 5 Sims living there. And I did want to have them like sit at the dining table and have like dinner together. So I decided to make the dining room a little bit bigger. I think I extended it by 2 tiles, I think. And yeah, it's just so that there's like a bigger dining table now, and so there's like room for 5 Sims. It's still fairly small. Like, the dining room's pretty small. It's not big enough for for the table to have like chairs on each side. The table's actually attached to the wall, so you can change that if you want to. Like, you could technically just extend it to the back. It would have like interfered with the landscaping a little bit, which is why I decided not to do that. So yeah, anyway, so I keep talking about the dining room. We're still in the kitchen, but we're going on to the dining room now. So I might as well talk about the kitchen now. But there's not really much to say. It's just a typical like cottagey kind of kitchen, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of clutter. There's a lot of like shelving and just a lot going on, you know. That's kind of like the vibe that I was going for this house. And I just love the Cottage Living wallpapers. They are so gorgeous. I absolutely love them, especially with the wood on the bottom. What's that called? Is it molding? I think it's called molding. And let me know if you know what that's called. Let me know in the comments. I think it's called molding, if there's like wooden kind of patterns on the wall, right? Let me know if I'm wrong. So anyway, so yeah, I absolutely love that. It's so gorgeous that they also included like colorful molding. So yeah, we have this swatch here with a green wood at the bottom, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so beautiful. And yeah, so the color scheme of the dining room is kind of like greeny wood, kind of, you know, green with wood, basically. So yeah, now we're on to the living room. By the way, it is actually pretty funny because this house is really cluttered, like all of my Sims 4 houses are, basically. I'm just a clutter kind of person. And I just love that. I just love the aesthetic of that. And now in my own life, I have actually been decluttering like crazy. Like, the first couple of days in January, I don't know what it was. I have like written something about that in the community tab. January just kind of hit me. I don't know. Like, I was in December, I was like really prepared, and I was gonna be like super like going into the new year and totally like motivated and all that. And then when January came, I was just like, I just need a couple more weeks, you know? I just need a couple more weeks of December to kind of prepare. And I don't know what happened. Like, I'm still not really there yet. And so I kind of felt the need to just majorly declutter everything. So my house is actually my apartment is pretty, well, I would say I got rid of like 60% to 70% of my whole like belongings, basically. So, and I do feel like that is actually what I want in my life, because I find it just much more, I don't know, I find it kind of liberating, you know, and it actually makes you feel lighter, or it makes me feel lighter. It's obviously not going to be the same for everyone, but in my case, I kind of feel like when I have too much stuff, it kind of I don't know, it feels like I'm trapped in a way. I don't know how to explain this, but I find that, you know, getting rid of stuff that I really don't need, and there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I did actually have like so much stuff that I just never ever used, like especially clothing that I just never wore. I don't know, like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I have bought clothing where I found the idea, you know, the idea of me wearing it. I found that idea very appealing, and I felt like, yeah, you know, that's gonna be my outfit, and I'm gonna be so like cool and I don't know, so trendy and whatever. But then in the end, I don't know, like I'm a pretty simple kind of person when it comes to clothing and dressing. I just dress quite, I don't know, I would say simple. Yeah, I dress very like it has to be comfortable, and I'm not gonna wear something if I'm not comfortable in it. So for the most part, I find, you know, if you buy something that looks good but it's not comfortable, I'm not gonna wear it. So I really sat down and took a good look at my closet and at my clothes, and I really just like very, very radically decided like most of it's just gonna go. So and I feel great about that. Like I absolutely love that I did that, and it feels like much, much better now. And there's still like a couple of things that I need to like donate and that kind of stuff, but in general, I'm very, very glad that I did that. So yeah, now we're working on the office, and yeah, the office is not really that interesting in my opinion. I use this base game wallpaper. I don't think I have ever used this wallpaper in this swatch. I don't think so. If maybe I haven't even used it like in general ever. I don't know. But I find, especially with this dark wooden floor, I use the Cottage Living floor in the whole house. I used everywhere. I used the same floor. And the blue wood, like it has a gorgeous kind of texture to it too. And the blue wood mixed with the brownish kind of wallpaper, it looks kind of cool. I was kind of digging it. So I might use that more often. I think it's very pretty. Yeah, I like the look of it, and yeah, it brings in a bit of color, but it's not too much, and it's still very cozy and cottagey. And yeah, so the office is really just an office. There's nothing really special in it. And I didn't really think of a storyline for this family that could live there. So I didn't really know, like, I didn't really want to put in a bunch of like extra skill building items or something. I just wanted to keep it pretty neutral. So you guys can decide whatever, you know, you can get rid of the couch or one of the bookshelves or whatever and just add in like an easel or whatever you want, you know. So yeah, and this is the master bedroom. And yeah, this is I don't know, it's a very simple room as well. Like I didn't do anything crazy here. I wanted to make this vanity, this makeup kind of vanity, because we do have some in-game, but we don't have any from base game or Cottage Living. I think we do have one from the Vintage Glamour pack, and then another one, where did that come with? I don't know, I don't remember. Thinking of it now, I kind of feel like it should have come with base game, but I didn't find it. Maybe I just didn't look enough or well enough. I don't know. Anyway, so well, I did decide to make my own, and I just used Toolmod to rotate the mirror a little bit and just like make it look like it's leaning against the wall. And I do really like the look of that. I do have a mirror like that in my house actually, and it is leaning against the wall as well. And I was actually debating on whether or not I should put it up on the wall actually, but I do think I prefer this look of just leaning against the wall. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I didn't put it up on the wall. And yeah, I did the same thing here. And then there's just a bed and a dresser and everything, like all the necessities that you would need in a bedroom. It should all be functional. Like I will say with playtesting, I decided to not go in and playtest every single thing. I used to do that, but I will just playtest like the basics, you know, like the bed, the shower, the toilet, the kitchen, you know, that kind of stuff, the dining room, so that you can like use the basics. And everything else, like, you know, if you can sit on that specific chair or if you can use that specific mirror, I'm not going to play test that. So, but I'm pretty sure like everything should be functional. And yeah, and there are actually 4 bathrooms in this house and 3 bedrooms. So there is 2 bathrooms on the ground floor and then 2 more bathrooms on the second floor or first floor. I don't know, however you call that. And then we have the master bedroom. We have a bedroom for a teen. And then this bedroom is for 2 kids. So that's what I had in mind, like brothers or sisters, or brother and sister would be sharing that room. And for this specific room, I did end up changing the layout a little bit because not everything worked. Like, I think I placed a dollhouse, and I think it didn't really, like, the dollhouse wasn't like 100% functional, you know? So I just changed the layout a little bit. So I think I sized the dollhouse down a little bit more, and I don't know, I swapped some items, but everything's like it is here, just not in that layout. So just so you guys know. And by the way, the dollhouses, like, I find the dollhouses are so big. Like, they are too big, in my opinion. Like, I don't know why they make them so big. It's just unnecessary, in my opinion. I don't know. Because you can actually size them down quite a bit, and they will still work, you know? They will still be able, like, the kids will still be able to play with it. Even 2 kids, I think even with an adult, everything works, and I don't really get why they make them so big. It just takes up too much space, you know? You would have to have a huge bedroom in order to for that to work, you know, because in this specific case, I had to size down the dollhouse more, and it didn't work like that. Like, they couldn't even like walk across the room. So yeah, and I mean, from looking at it, it looks fine, right? But it didn't work, so I just had to size it down a little bit more. And yeah, so this is the teen's bedroom, and for the teen, I actually had in mind, it actually came to my mind because of this bed, because I did really want to use this bed. It's a base game bed. I think it's one of those that you have to unlock, but I always have that sheet on, so it's always there for me. So, and it has this pattern which kind of looks like a Van Gogh kind of thing, you know, the painter, and that's why I kind of wanted this to be like a painterly kind of room. You know, I kind of had in mind for the teen to be like very much into painting, very artistic, and they maybe want to have like an art career or like a creative career. And yeah, that's what I kind of had in mind, and that's what I tried to make the room look like. And yeah, so I put up these sketches that they are from base game, and I also think that you have to unlock them. But they are absolutely beautiful. I love them. They're so they just look so realistic. I don't know. I just absolutely love them for like painters and painterly rooms like that. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I think this room is very cozy as well. I could definitely see myself having a room like that. And I don't know, like as a teen, like being able to have like an easel and all your like paintings and that kind of stuff in your room, that's really cool to me, you know? So yeah, I'm really happy with this room. And yeah, this is actually already it. Like, I'm not going back to the exterior, so we're already done with this build. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again for 2,000 subscribers. And I very much hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please enjoy the cinematic shots in the end, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
And oh, the places that I've been, the faces mine of friends, fate sings softer there, humming slow, though hurry in the dark. I hear them calling when it starts. And go, they'll find you